This is episode 2B of Star vs. the Forces of Evil. I'm just going to say right off the bat, I didn't like this one too much. It was okay. The visuals in this were still really good. The visuals in this show are really good. The use of color in particular is really unusual for a show that's so action-oriented. There's a lot of pinks, a lot of rainbows, a lot of cutesy colors used in situations where you wouldn't expect cutesy colors to be used, and I really appreciate that. I love it a lot. But the episode itself, I thought was kind of dumb. Marco is telling Star about their school's football team, how they've never managed to win against their rivals, the Warriors, and he's using terms like bloodbath and the kind of terms that sports fans tend to use to refer to sporting events where their team loses horribly, but Star completely misunderstands what he's talking about. She grew up learning from actual warriors. She grew up engaging in actual combat that were actually bloodbaths. So when she hears these very metaphorical terms, she takes them very literally and assumes that the warriors are going to try to kill their football team. Meanwhile, one of Marco's friends introduced in the previous episode has become the new mascot, and the mascot tends to be targeted by the other team. So Marco spends the entire episode trying to keep this kid away from the other team so he won't be kidnapped by kidnapping him, which I did find amusing, but I can also see how it might be problematic, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Because Marco is distracted by this other thing, Star has plenty of time to set literal traps across the football field, like mines and stuff, and gather up random animals and magic them into monsters so they'll attack. I'm assuming that she intended them to attack only the other team, but I don't see how she actually planned for that to work. And so the game turns into this huge massacre with bombs going off and portals to other dimensions opening under people's feet and monsters scooping people up and carrying them away. And Marco helps her stop it, but we never get actual confirmation that the people who were taken come back. We never get confirmation that no one died. And again, I find this very amusing, but also possibly problematic, and I'll talk about that now. We see at the beginning of the episode that their teacher is still a troll. She's still in that form from the previous episode, which implies that this show does have episode-to-episode continuity and that actions have consequences. Now, I love the kind of story where people are just so chill with supernatural elements existing in their world, and I'm cool with the show not having any real consequences for the characters for things just being crazy and random all the time, just so long as that stays consistent. And from what some of you guys have been telling me about the show down the line, it doesn't seem like that's going to stay consistent. I feel like, looking back, an episode like this where we never learn if there were any consequences to these actions is really going to bother me. That, and I don't like any of the other characters at this school. We meet a cheerleader in this episode too. I don't like her. I don't like Marco's friends. They all seem kind of like stereotypes. Very bare bones stereotypes that we don't learn anything about. Maybe that'll change down the line. If it does, great, but as of now, it annoyed me that such simple template characters were featured so prominently in the episode, despite the fact that I don't care about them at all, that the show has not given me a reason to care about them at all. Kind of like the second episode, this one felt like they were just tossing us into this story without having properly set things up. It still had its enjoyable moments, but this was by far my least favorite of the episodes I've seen so far. That said, guys, if you have seen this episode, what did you think of it? Let's get a discussion going in the comment section down below. Either way, this has been AJ22, and I will talk to you guys later.